Hey everybody, welcome. This is Nick the Record Lover, 1969. How's everybody doing tonight? A happy early Yuletide, December 6th. A little early yet, but it's getting cold out there. Weather outside is frightful. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Tonight I'm going to take you guys on a musical journey, and you'll get three features for the price of none. None, but I had to buy the records, but that's okay. Tonight, we are going to talk about, so much. Well, first of all, as you can see, my Beatles shirt, Beatlemania is back in town. Uh, I want to know how many of you actually bought the Beatles box set, the original with the 1964 albums in it. I was able to get a couple of them that were separate outside the box, so I'm glad that they actually were released that way, that we have the option to buy them separately, because a few of them I already have, and I might buy another one. I might buy the early Beatles or the Beatles' second album, because those are albums that I really liked, uh, and the American versions. But the question was, Target had an exclusive, right? The question is, Target had an exclusive, and probably still has the exclusive copy of Meet the Beatles, which originally came out in January of 1964, and it's a special Target edition of the Meet the Beatles on opaque blue vinyl. So I said to myself, oh, it's $36. I already have a couple copies of the record. Is it going to sound any better? You know, what am I going to do? So it was a choice between buying a Peanuts. Hey, Stella K. Uh, it was a choice between buying a Peanuts jigsaw puzzle, a Christmas jigsaw puzzle, and the Peanuts movie on DVD on eBay. Great deal for the both of them. And then I said, I got enough for jigsaw puzzles, right? And I have a lot of Peanuts DVDs, all of the TV specials. But what do I really want to do? So the question is, would I go out and buy Meet the Beatles all over again? Colored vinyl, blue vinyl? Well, the answer is, of course I did. This is the Meet the Beatles in mono that just came out, a Target exclusive, and it's on opaque blue vinyl, and it also has a replica of the original LP sleeve that came with the original Meet the Beatles. This is what the Capitol albums were like when they were released at the time. And I remember this sleeve on the original Meet the Beatles album, which I have. I'll tell you a quick story about Meet the Beatles. Actually, it was 1984, and it was 20 years since Meet the Beatles came out. And I actually borrowed my uncle's copy, and I never got enough of playing that record. It was terrific. It was the summer of 1984, and I thank him for that. And I remember this was the sleeve inside, only it was the original sleeve. It looked exactly like this. And this is when I learned that Jackie Gleason actually did music as well. He was a conductor and all that, but that's another issue for another day. And Meet the Beatles, the reissue, also came with the session tape facsimile, the analog tape that they used, and a little bit of the story about it, and the Meet the Beatles facsimile of when the album actually came out, and the ad for it. So that's very cool. And it's a really nice the way I think they did the cover really nice. They did it more like a plastic cover instead of like a cardboard cover. And I thought that being it was an exclusive, I think that was the way to go. I like it. I like it. I've seen different opinions on here about this release, but I really didn't. I really think that they did a nice job. So actually, what I did was I ordered one ahead of time. I reserved a copy on Target online, and I went to pick it up at my local store because they had them in the one or two in the store. And this is what it looks like. This is the sleeve that comes with it. And here is the opaque Meet the Beatles. There's side two. There's side one on opaque blue vinyl. Now, the big question, how does it play? I tell you, it's mono, I know, and I have it, and it sounds great on the original, but this really sounds clean. It sounds like that they really went, It went back to the original analog cut of the masters that they used for the United States Beatles albums. So I really like the way this sounds. I mean, I Want to Hold Your Hand. I mean, it's Beatlemania all over again when you listen to this record. United States. This is technically the second record that we got in the United States, but the first one was introducing the Beatles, which I also have many copies of. So that's that one, and just a few side Beatle things here. What else did I get? Put this back. There we go. Nice and smooth. Yep, just the way it's supposed to be done. So I said to myself, am I going to buy any other reissues of the Beatles? So I went out to Barnes and Noble last week. I figured I'd treat myself, and I bought Beatles 65, the reissue. And let me tell you something. Long story short, this sounds great too. It's mono, and it has a great sound to it. A great sound. And this is one of my favorite American Beatle albums that came out, Beatles 65. I actually borrowed this from another uncle of mine way back in 1984. And this anniversary is coming up for December 15th, 1964, where Beatles 65 came out. So this is great. I mean, the tracks on it are wonderful. I mean, No Reply, Babies in Black, I'm a Loser, I'll Follow the Sun, Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby. But and She's a Woman and I Feel Fine, reverb and all. It sounds great. It just sounds great. I mean, mono and stereo, but this really is the way everybody heard it the first time around. So it's a really great copy. It sounds great. I definitely recommend this and the Meet the Beatles Opaque. I haven't heard the Beatles' second album or the early Beatles yet. So I'm looking forward to those because I might buy those as well. I'm not sure about the A Hard Day's Night one, though. Was it not too sure about that one? The Hard Day's Night, because I have a couple of copies of that on United Artists already, and they're both on the black labels. I have one in shrink, and it's an original mono copy. I didn't pay a lot for it, so not too sure about the soundtrack. I think I'm passing on the Beatles story because that also comes with that, and the early Beatles. That's another one I might go after. But this Beatles second album is a real big rocker too, that came out in America. So the Hard Day's Night, like I said, I'm probably not going to buy the Beatles story. I have the reissue on Apple. I actually found an Apple copy of that record because I never owned that. So I've seen mono copies and stereo copies. I found one on Apple just to have. I've never heard it. It's just snippets of interviews and snippets of music and all kinds of narration and from different people, different journalists and stuff. So I mean, if you're a Beatle fan and you're a completist, it's for you. I mean, but tonight I'm going to take you all. Oh, of course. And today is nearly the 60th anniversary. 59 was 9 years. Yeah, 59 years ago today, Rubber Soul came out in the United States. And I did a whole video on this, the UK versus the United States copy of Rubber Soul. It's part of my videos here. I watched it the other night. And out of all the videos I've done on here, I think that's probably my best because I watched it the other night. And it was, as specific as I could possibly make it. It was a couple of years ago, last year. I think it was last year around this time that I did it. I did it completely, whole thing about is this better? Is the United Kingdom version better? I spun the United Kingdom version the other night. I enjoyed that. I enjoy this. I grew up with this. I grew up with the United States copy of Rubber Soul. It's one of my childhood favorite albums. It still is a favorite album. It's great to bring it out like in the fall and in the winter. And this one's in shrink wrap with the Corvette sticker on it. And you had to see the price chart. So I don't know what the price chart was. The grade was F at the time. So I don't know how much an F record was, but this is an Apple copy. And it's manufactured by Apple Records Incorporated. So I would think that this is a 1971 pressing. and it's in shrink, and it has the number 12 on the back. Now I have a sealed one of these with a number 12 on the back. So I think it answered my question of what kind of copy the sealed one is. I think the sealed one is also an Apple, and that one has a two guys sticker on it, and it was selling for $5.97 back then. Because back then, if it was Apple, there were hardly any. If there were any mono copies left over, you probably found them in a 5 and 10 maybe. But $5.97 for a stereo album back then, you still have to save up your money for it. But tonight, really, I have to pay homage to everyone online who has covered or who has reviewed. And it's so great to see that an album like this that should have done much better in the charts. It's in the book, 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Die, which is a great book. That's a great book that has so many journalists, so many different essays, so many albums. I mean, it's amazing. It made that book, it made that list. I'm so glad it did. And I've seen so many great videos about this album and many reviews of this album. Oh, there's so many. Too many to name of how many people did this. So here is the album. It's the Zombies, Odessey and Oracle. I have to tell you about this record because I found this on CD first. And this is the original one I bought. It's the 30th anniversary on CD. And this is on Big Beat. That was the label that it came out on. And it's one CD with both the mono and the stereo mixes of this album, a true mono mix that was only released in England. The United States didn't get it until the CD, and that was it basically. There has not been a copy released in the United States, a reissue or otherwise of it in mono in the United States, and that needs to happen pretty soon. So, see if I have anybody coming up in the chat. I see like 2 people. Not yet. Okay. So this is on Big Beat, and it looks like the label that it came out on, the Columbia album that it came out on in England. On the United States, it released on Date Records, which was a subsidiary of CBS. And Al Cooper was the reason why it made it so big over here. Al Cooper from Blood, Sweat, and Tears. He was in England in 1968, and he came home with about 40 albums from England. And the minute he got home, he started playing them. And he said, this is an album not to be missed. He had to convince CBS's subsidiary, Date Records, to give this record a chance. He plugged it as much as he possibly could to get it out there. And they did. It didn't sell very well. It was written up, though, very well in the newspapers, like the Record of the Week. It's a new album by the Zombies. It was their last album too, because by 1967, they were getting a little disillusioned with the music business, as what I read in some of the liner notes here in the 30th anniversary edition, because for 2 years they had a pretty good run, with their version, their songs, Tell Her No, She's Not There. They did a great. They did a nice cover of This Old Heart of Mine Is Weak for You by the Isley Brothers. And they did a great version of the Porgy and Bess hit, Summertime. And that's a really nice version of that song. They did a good job. But all the facts that I've seen about this album, I was very much, well informed, and I was enlightened by all of these reviews that I saw here on social media about Odessey and Oracle that probably knew from the liner notes that they had these songs finished by June of 1967, and they went into EMI Studios and recorded this and used the Mellotron like the Beatles did. They had songs rehearsed. Songs fully rehearsed to make an album. They really wanted to go out with a big bang, and I'm so glad that they made this album. The minute that I heard this CD, I fell in love with the entire album. I said, I know before I play this that I'm gonna like this album. I just knew it. I knew Time of the Season. I mean, everybody knew that song. That was released as a single in 1969 because when it originally came out on Date Records, now I've yet to find a Date copy with this cover. I found a Date copy, the Date label with this cover. This is the 1969 reissue. It's a second press. The first press has this cover. But when the single came out, Time of the Season, and became a hit, then it was called the Time of the Season, Odyssey and Oracle. And only like one picture from the front, they took this out of the whole collage and made it the front cover. But the back cover was virtually the same. But I was lucky to get this. It goes for about $25 to $30. And the person who I bought it from actually did a vacuum clean on it, like a spin clean on the whole thing, like really did like a big vacuum job, washed it, dried it, put it in a VPI sleeve, vacuum sleeve. And I played it, and it's a very nice copy. It's a very nice copy for what I paid for it. But the song on, the big song that everybody likes on here, and I was just taken, so emotionally by this record. Of course, well, this, of course, the whole album, but This Will Be Our Year is. I saw it on a TV show that it was like a musical TV show. It wasn't Glee. It was another one that this kid is just sitting at the piano and they're all singing "This Will Be Our Year." I'm like, wait a minute, they're doing a zombie song. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. Yep, that's such a great song. Hi, Miko. Miko Clark. She's got a great I think it's the true crime timeline. So you have to check out Miko's page, the true crime timeline. There's a few subscribers up there. I just subscribed to it tonight. Go in, check it out for yourself. You're into true crime, definitely take a watch, and listen to Miko tell the stories. It's wonderful. But this will be our year. So I guess that's what Miko. Hi, Miko. This is what I guess Miko was talking about. This will be our year because Miko, you did this at karaoke, I think, right? Didn't you do that? Yeah, I think you did, right? So, yeah. But the thing is, on the mono mix on this CD, there's horns on it. And the stereo mix, the true stereo mix, does not have the horns. They did make a stereo mix, a true stereo mix of that song, but they put it in a Zombies box set. And it's not like they didn't make a box set of Odyssey and Oracle yet. Knowing the way things are now, there's probably gonna be an Odyssey and Oracle box set somewhere. I mean, if this is all that they're gonna do with the album, then I don't know. I see one coming. I really do. Because as this picks up speed, it's probably going to pick up speed. There's so many people on here to talk about it and do such wonderful professional videos of this album. Oh man, it'll blow your mind, really. But on this album, on the Date version, released in the United States, they used the mono mix with the horns on This Will Be Our Year, even though this is a stereo album. This is the stereo version of the album, but they used the mono mix of This Will Be Our Year with the horns on here. This is the only way really to get it because they didn't release it like this on this one. And this one is on Varice Vintage. This is just a reissue I bought on regular black vinyl. And it sounds good. The stereo separation is very good. That's the label. Okay, Varice Vintage. And it has hidden inside all of their names. There's Rod, Chris, and Colin Blunstone. Rod Argent and Colin Blunstone went to Argent, the group, respectively, of course. After that, did very well. And they've come back and actually done this album live. And unfortunately, I never did get a chance to see it. I wish I did. Unfortunately, I think it's Rod Argent who unfortunately, or Colin Blunstone, it was either one of the, I think it's Rod Argent that had a stroke, unfortunately, recently. And that really just puts an end, unfortunately, to their tours. Any tour, but they were touring under Odyssey and Oracle, and they said it sounded just like the album. So that's unfortunately something I missed. But I will always have the album, and that's wherever Rod Argent is. Oh, that's one of your go-to karaoke songs. Yeah. Okay. This will be our year. Right. Okay. Yep. And I've seen you sing it. It sounds great. Yeah. Miko's a great singer. She's amazing. And she's a big Sam Cooke fan. Knows everything about Sam Cooke. So, but here's a copy. Now, this is in stereo, and this is this one. I found on Repertoire on orange, fiery orange vinyl. I found this. I found it online. I actually got a pretty decent price for it. Now it goes for a lot of money. So this is the Repertoire one. And I read I read one of the guys the other night. His name is Adam, and I think his channel is called Medium Quality. And he said that he made a mistake. No, that's like, he wound up buying a different pressing, and it didn't wind up working out for him. But it's a great video that he does on Odyssey and Oracle. It's just, as a collector of anything, you live and learn about what pressings are the best. When you're so enamored with a record, or enwrapped with a record of any kind, that you want to get as many different pressings of it as possible. I did that, and it was like orange vinyl. I'm like, okay, got to get it. I haven't heard it yet, but I've heard it sounds very good. So that's good. That's good enough for me when I found somebody saying that. Hey, Paul. Hey, you having a little dinner there, a little meal, but a big Playhouse hello. Good to see you, man. Great video the other day on Peanuts. That was a terrific. Uncle Paul's Beatles Pop Playhouse. Check him out. He did five straight videos. Okay. And the fifth one he just did was on his Peanuts collection. Charlie Brown and the gang. Oh, just amazing. I have to tell you. Everything. You could think of anything Peanuts. And it's great. He has a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful channel. And if you want to have a shout out on his channel, he'll give you a shout out if you want. If you subscribe to it, definitely subscribe to Uncle Paul's Playhouse, Beatles Pop Playhouse, excuse me. Definitely take a look at him, because he's got oh man. When you think you got it, you find someone else. It's thank you, Stella. That's Stella K. She's a New York Rangers fan as well. We got a game tonight in about a half an hour. Rangers play the Penguins at Madison Square Garden. I got my chocolate covered Granny Smith apple that I got at my Christmas party today at work, all ready as a snack to lay back. Which the apple might be better than watching the game, but I'll be watching a podcast with two of my friends, Ranting New York Rangers. That's Aaron and Andrew, that they do play-by-play. It's great. And good luck to the. Oh, thanks, Uncle Paul. Good luck to the Rangers. Oh, 6 so far. Okay, 6 videos he has so far. Yeah, and he has got a lot of subscribers. And his Beatles collection. Oh my goodness, he did an entire video on Strawberry Fields. Anything you could think of that's related to that, he did. And I mean, wow. I was blown away. I was blown away by, I love watching these videos and learning different things, learning, and you think that you have knowledge of it, and then you look at someone else and then they have more stuff that you never stop learning. Hey, Rant the New York Rangers. What's up, man? Hi from me and Aaron. Andrew, how are you, buddy? Good to see you. He's a man. Andrew and his female companion, shall we say, Aaron. Aaron made Rant the New York Rangers made they make excellent videos. Check out Aaron and Andrew. Um, Aaron made a what do you call a video on peanut butter old fashions drinks, and I was like, you learn something new every day. It's like it's a peanut butter drink, and all the ingredients. It's all online, so they're amazing. They're amazing. Um, to get back to Odyssey and Oracle, this is the yummy. Yeah. Miko, have you had a peanut butter old fashioned? Let me know. I might take a chance. My birthday's coming up, so I don't know. I might. This is the. What's it upside down? Oh, yeah. They never stay right side up on both sides. This is the date copy. This is the copy that came out on the date label, the CBS date label in the United States. Like I said, the guy cleaned it up pretty well. And paying him the $30 for it was not a bad deal. So, but I'm glad I got that one as well. Just at least if I get one date copy, that's nice. Because the original cover, that was going for $100 to $150 the last time I saw one, which was a year and a half ago, maybe over 2 years, maybe 2 years. That my buddy's shop, Double Decker Records, that hasn't he retired after 27 years. That was probably the only time I saw an original date copy. The only other copy I saw was this at a record show out in Oaks, Pennsylvania, and I saw it, and I was like, "Oh wow, wait a minute!" But then there was writing on the cover and people's names on it. I said, "I got to pass." The guy wanted $4.99 for it, but I have to. Uh, I have to, me with records, it's like got to be clean covers, got to be clean records. They have to be. There's no exception to the rule, unless after the fact I found, oh wow, I bought this years ago. Oh, there's somebody's name in it. I'm like, okay, can I white it out? If not, you can always upgrade the copy and just listen to that one. Okay, you just had a regular old fashioned. Okay, peanut butter sounds next level. Oh yeah, hey, Miko, what's next level? All right, you need to see the video. I mean, and Aaron is they're wonderful people. Andrew and Aaron, first of all, I got Ronnie Dangerfield record, No Respect. Andrew, I listened to that record back in 8th grade, and somebody brought in in 8th grade when we were graduating and we had a party. Somebody brought in the cassette tape of it and brought in the boom box, and we listened to it. We always listen. We listened to that song and we listened to the live album that was out at that time too. Ronnie Dangerfield, No Respect. Yeah, the language on that album was not something 8th graders should have been hearing, but doesn't matter. We had it like to the nth degree with the volume, and could hear Ronnie Dangerfield saying stuff, and it's funny is that my 8th grade homeroom teacher called me Rodney because I'd always tell her jokes, but of course I'm not Ronnie Dangerfield. May he rest in peace, of course. So, and one other one I wanted to show you guys. I just walked in arbitrarily into a record shop in Easton, PA. I'm in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, originally from New York. Okay, I moved here to be near my family, but I'm from New York. If you haven't already known by either the way I look or the way my house looks, maybe that I'm from New York. Not that that means any, not that the house has anything to do with it, but I think that I tried to convince somebody I was from Enid, Oklahoma at one point. She actually believed me. And then I had to tell her, really, you believe that? She did. But because it was one Christmas where she said, you're going to go visit your family in Enid this year? I said, what are you talking about? She says, Enid, Oklahoma. I said, what about Enid, Oklahoma? You said you got family. You live in Enid, you were from Enid, Oklahoma. I said, you really believe that when I told you that? Seriously? I do have a bridge, goes all the way through Brooklyn and San Francisco. And it ends up on the east side of Chicago, just like in the night Chicago died. Only the east side of Chicago, you would need scuba wear because it's water. All right, so I digest. I found this in a record store in Easton, and I walked in and I said, you know what? Maybe I will find this. I don't know. But I did. And this is Odessey and Oracle record store day edition, and it was still hanging around, I think, from a previous record store day. I don't think that was the record store day year that I bought this, but this, it's still sealed and it's on teal blue vinyl. So I bought it and I was like, didn't spend a lot for it. So I found it and I bought it and I'm like, I got lucky because they had one copy left. I just went under Z in the record rack and here it is. So I was like, I have a couple copies to listen to, so I might keep this sealed and listen to the orange one. I'm not sure yet what I want to do, but I'll tell you. But I tell you, to go through the music of the album, if you haven't heard it, I don't want to spoil it too much, but you know, I'll tell you that it's very, and I could hear from the beginning track of Care of Cell 44. On the 30th anniversary of the CD, you hear a bonus track of the song with just the backing track. The harpsichord and drums. I mean, the backing track is amazing for that song, and you could tell by the way that the harmonies that they were influenced. I think that I saw the Beach Boys first before I saw the Beatles with the harmonies. But when I heard the harmonies on Care of Cell 44, I said, yeah, that was definitely like a Pet Sounds kind of influence that was going on at that point when they started recording these songs by June of 1967. I mean, they were had Pet Sounds probably memorized because that came out the summer before, the spring before, spring early summer. Um, Maybe after he's gone. I can't. There is not. This is an album that just from beginning to end. It's one of those albums that it's from beginning to end. I want her. She wants me. I love it. I mean, when I heard it, I was like, this is just a great song. Sometimes I'm not saying you needed gimmicks, but there's a lot of when you experimented a lot in the studio and you did separate backing tracks for different parts of the song. I mean, that's genius in itself. But when you listen to "I Want Her, She Wants Me," it's a beautiful rock pop psych. I don't want to say psych because there's other songs on here that qualify as psychedelic, and I would qualify this album and a few others more psychedelic. And this is not Beatle blasphemy. It's an opinion, and it's not only mine. As more psychedelic than Sergeant Pepper's will ever be, because to me, Sergeant Pepper's was a creative record. It was a record. It was a groundbreaking record. It's a fun record to listen to. It's a great album, and then when it's over, you're still like, yeah. Tell me how they did that again, because after the last quarter of a day in the life, you're like, what was that? The whole album. It was a whole different experience. But psychedelic, I have to agree to disagree with people that say it's psychedelic. But I would say that there's tracks off of here that are more psychedelic. Maybe after he's gone, hung up on a dream. Uh, you know, Time of the Season. It ends with Time of the Season. But Time of the Season was a song on the album before that got airplay, and there was a single released from this album. It actually was Care of Cell 44 was the single, and the single went nowhere. Tell me why. I don't know. How some great singles out there never charted. How some great albums out there never charted. It was an album I did the other night that it was an album that I did that I thought of that never charted at all. I don't think it was Odyssey. It wasn't Odyssey and Oracle. No. I mean, the album didn't even. Oh yes, last week when I did the Kinks of the Village Green Preservation Society. That is an album that never charted. I mean, coincidence that it came out the same day as the Beatles' Double White album? I don't know. I don't know because that's a concept album. The Village Green Preservation Society by the Kinks. Definitely get a hold of that. In any incarnation, even if it's just the CD. If you get the box set, that's still out there. But definitely get a listen to that record because I did a whole spiel on that a while ago. But last week I did it, so check it out. on my channel here, as well as the Rubber Soul one that I did, comparing the two, comparing the American one and the English one. And I think that you'll find that. I think that, when you look at videos and you do so many, it was like when I wrote for a magazine, and sometimes I wrote for the newspaper just to get it done sometimes, and sometimes I would just throw facts and prose. It was after a while, like maybe after the second or the third one, that I threw my emotion into it, and I threw my soul into it, and threw my feelings into it, because the first couple of flip sides of 45s that I wrote about were facts. And I said, there was an article I also wrote for that paper where I just gave it to the editor, and she says, "Okay, this is short and sweet." She said, "I was looking for more of how you felt about the performance." So what I did was I went home and I said, "Well, okay, now I know what to do." And then I just did it, came out of my fingers. And she's like, "That's exactly what I wanted." And I felt better about it too, because it was like, it wasn't just a performance. There was a lot going on. So I went back and I did that and I rewrote it. There were times I would rewrite things that I wrote for the paper. But I think that my best, even though my first single that I wrote about for the paper was "Rain" by the Beatles, and I thought it was going to be the best one that I wrote. It was a lot more facts about the record, about Ringo's drumming and about the backward loops and all that at the end, the backward vocals. But I think the best one that I ever wrote about was probably "I'm Down," when I did with the Beatles, "I'm Down," the flip side of "Help." So that was probably the best, I think, out of all of them that I wrote, and I wrote for them for 6 years. So I think that I look at that and I'm like, yeah, I think that's probably the best one, because I put every emotion into that one when I wrote that, and it was like, talking about videos. I think the best one I've done when I watched it all the way through. Sometimes I just watch a few things, see where I can improve, get a little bit more loose, because I just started this channel. I have 30 subscribers, so I'm very happy for the 30 subscribers. I made it to 30, and I've done, this might be my 22nd video, my 23rd video, because sometimes I do them on Facebook. But I'm very glad that I do have some followers on here and people that join me and a few likes. I really appreciate that. But like I said, I think the best I did after watching it all the way through was probably the Rubber Soul one. I think was the best. Comparing the two, and it was actually a dedication to another Beatle fan that's on here. And she loves Beatles for Sale, which is another great Beatles album. But to get back to Time of the Season, it's a wonderful album. I mean, and this is another anniversary edition of the CD that came out, Odyssey and Oracle. Only they released the mono and stereo versions on two separate CDs instead of one CD. And it has 6 bonus tracks, not duplicates on what's on here. On here, you get a couple of bonus tracks of the 30th anniversary edition. You get an alternate mix of "A Rose for Emily," an alternate mix of "Time of the Season." Now, I won't tell you anything about that alternate mix of "Time of the Season." It might be on the internet. I'm sure it might be on YouTube. You could probably even download it if you want, but it's so different. Not so different. You have to listen to it. Like I said, no spoilers. And also the backing track for Prison Song, also known as "Care of Cell 44." So that, like I said, the backing track for it is amazing. I mean, to use the harpsichord, which is one of my favorite instruments, classical instruments to be used in rock and roll. And when I took music history, traditional in college, we talked about that, how much that groups of the 60s used classical instruments to play rock and roll progression. You know, uh, how the Beatles used the harpsichord, they used the mellotron. I mean, Time of the Season, the Odyssey and Oracle uses the mellotron. Um, on how many, I can't say enough about this record. And at the time, if you notice, Odyssey in the title, get you a clearer one. Odyssey is spelled Odessey, not Odysey. So the group at the time said that they just was spelt incorrectly, but they left it like that just a lot of people think that they meant it that way, but they did say they spelled it wrong. But I think it's probably the best way to hear it is with that title because it really is an ode to sea and Oracle. So I'll tell you, folks, thank you for joining me tonight. Everybody, Stella, Miko. Yep. Like I said, peanut butter sounds like the next level. Yep. All right. Uncle Paul, thank you for being here tonight. Stella, again, it's great to see you. It's great to see you back in the Ranting New York Rangers family. Miko, what can I say? Thank you so much for your support all of the time. It's great to see you. And thank you, Miko. And Ranting New York Rangers, thanks for taking a stop by tonight. And like I said, Andrew and Aaron on Ranting New York Rangers. If you're a different hockey fan, you could come in and they're just friendly to everybody, a sports fan. If you're just a sports fan, so hey, Uncle Paul, what can I say, man? I love your channel. So Amiko's channel, check it out. The True Crime one, definitely check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. For people that are true crime fans, it's gonna be a treat for you. So I like to say goodnight, Uncle Paul. Thank you, Stella, Ranting New York Rangers, Miko. Have a great night, guys. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. And if music be the food of love, play on. Give me excess of it. Have a great weekend. Take care.